it's never done, even up until 5 minutes before the show. It's never quite done. And then when we do it, we don't even think that we have it while we're doing it. And then when we're done, we're done. So what I love about working with her is that we just always are trying to we're still trying to entertain.
I love watching your collaboration.
Thank you. We're still trying to entertain. I think a lot of artists are just doing it, just be like, here's my song, I'm out on a video, I'm shaking my butt. But we're trying to actually like entertain with a certain level, and we're trying to, we compete against ourselves. We don't worry about the other artists in that way. Yeah.
What's the hardest part about doing what you do, and how do you physically, when it comes to choreography, what do you do to really push yourself to just keep going?
The hardest part about it is actually just making time for all the rehearsals and getting to the rehearsals and trying to feed yourself. For me, the choreography side for me, you guys, is probably the funnest part. It's just the time that I can say, okay, what are we about to give them?
Yeah.
What's gonna be cool? What's gonna be hot? And for me, I never get tired of that part. It is the funnest part, and the way I push myself is just because I always want to try to create something new. Some people love to follow trends. I think I was that when I was younger. Like, what's everyone else doing? But then when I got older, I was like, well, what am I doing? And I feel like that's what keeps me going, because I get to just create, not only for Gaga, but just for whoever I'm working with, and push out there what I think could be hot. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, were you in the Scarlet Brigade?
Yes, I was.
Okay.
Yes.
Because I heard rumors I was in the Scarlet Brigade too, so I was gonna ask.
Yes.
Did that kind of play inspo to the Super Bowl?
125%. 125%.
What's the Scarlet Brigade? Oh.
It's Fairfield High School's marching band.
Oh, nice.
707.
And I'm from Fairfield, so yeah, I'm from Fairfield. Yeah. So yeah, I was in the Scarlet Brigade marching band. I mean, I'm not sure if they still do it, but we were like,
still do it.
okay, great. So what I learned from that, because we were a Scottish band. We were patterned after the Coldstream Guard of Great Britain, like I'll never forget. And you would think that we literally flew in from Scotland. And what I loved about it was the showmanship. And the reason why we won all the time is because we would show up like we were from Scotland. We would play the Scottish fanfare. We would march and we would move and be so precise and clean. We had a story. The marches we played, the songs we played were so dark. It was so amazing. But I played percussion. I was a drummer. So what it taught me was showmanship. I wasn't a theater kid, but I was a marching band kid. And I knew that when we had to get on those outfits, we had to become something and become a force. And that helped me greatly. I didn't realize it until later on in my career, but 110%.
Huh.
Yes. Yes.
Hey, what's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Take your time. For all those dancers out there who want to become choreographers or creative directors, take your time. Anybody in this room can make up a step. Anybody on the street can make up steps. When you're in this business and this is what you want to do, it's not about you just making up steps. You have to learn as a dancer what to do, as an assistant what to do, and then as a choreographer. Because what happens is that when you finally become a choreographer, you can't mess up. And if you don't have enough experience, enough knowledge, because it's not the steps, it's the stuff that comes up out of nowhere that you have to be prepared to fix right now, and it's got to be amazing right now. If you don't have that knowledge, those people will be like, oh, that person's not good, and then the word goes around, and then that's it. So everyone, please, if this is what you want to do, take your time, learn. You need to learn, and not from the internet. You need to get experience, real, actual, on the set, on a stage, go around the world, experience. Because it takes much more than you think, and you won't even know until it's happening to you right now. Yes?
Do you encounter a wide range of age with dancers? Because I had impressions when I was younger that all dancers are younger, and I don't really know anything now.
I think that now, the age doesn't matter as much. It used to, but it doesn't matter as much. I think it's because it's a different kind of talent that's out there now. Not all the young ones are great. You understand what I'm saying? So the age bracket is actually like people who were supposed to be like, I've hung up my boots, are still dancing. Because they still have it. Yes.
I just wonder, how long do you rehearse for shows and like music videos? Do you spend days or weeks?
It depends. So for normally for a video, it depends. And this is the thing. Sometimes you have to put a whole routine together in one day. And that one day is probably It could be 2 to 6 to 8 hours. And it has to be done and put on the artist and put on the dancers and ready to shoot the next day. Or you can get 5 or 6 days depending on how much choreography is needed for video. For stage shows, it's about the same. It depends. If it's like for instance, I just finished working with Mario. He used to sing that song, "Baby, you should let me love you." Yeah, I worked with him, and we rehearsed for about 3 weeks for his stage show, but he had a 30-minute set. For something like a Gaga, when we did like Enigma in Vegas, I mean, I can't even tell you the hours. It's about making sure it's perfect on opening night, and it's whatever it takes. Yeah. Yes.
Probably one more question.
Me?
Yes.
So how did you make the leap from dancing in other people's shows to choreographing for people? And was there like a hesitation in you, like, do I need, like, who gives me permission to be okay to do that? You know what I mean?
So again, when I first got to LA, I started dancing for a lot of people. I danced for NSYNC. I danced with, God, here we go. I danced with NSYNC, Usher, Missy. I danced with Jessica Simpson, Will Smith. I danced with Puff Daddy. I danced with Dream. I don't know if you even know who that is. Okay. And then from there, I did like iPod commercials. Those first iPod commercials that came out and all those frozen spots. I did a bunch of those. I did a Coke commercial. A lot of that stuff, like even for this Coke commercial, which is an interesting thing about confidence. Just a quick story. So there was an audition for a Coke commercial. They wanted people who are heavily versed in salsa and merengue and rumba and other Latin dance terms that I'd never heard in my life. And I remember just saying, Richard, when they put you on camera, just give them fancy feet, fast feet, fancy feet, whatever that means, just do that. So they called me in, they pressed play on the music. I don't know what I did. All I know is my feet were moving 1,000,000 miles per hour. And then by the end of it, the choreographer says, cut the music. Like what is that? What's that style? And I'm like, yeah, we do that in the Bay Area. and I ended up getting that job. So
All right.
all that to say that, I had to start to figure out having confidence as a dancer. I think a lot of us are taught to be like beat down, but when I got there to figure out my confidence, I had to figure out like what was working for me, not what worked for the other person. Then from there, people started to ask me to assist. So at an audition, I was auditioning for Usher. And when I was done, my agent called me. He says, hey, you don't know this, but a choreographer by the name of Michael Rooney, who has done a ton of eBay commercials, very jazz inspired, very Fosse. He saw me at the audition. And he said, hey, I want this guy who I saw to assist me. So that was the first person I ever assisted. And even in that moment, it taught me 2 things. 1, you never know who's watching. So be full out the entire time. And then 2, it was the first time that I'd ever worked with somebody where they never got up out of their chair. He literally was like, okay, this is what I want to see. Jump, spin, and slide. And I was like, okay. I just did what I thought it was. And that's how we worked for about 4 days. 4 8-hour days, he never got up.
That's weird.
And I danced the whole time. So I assisted Michael Rooney, I assisted about 2 or 3 other choreographers, and then once I got to Gaga, it was just time. And for me, she was just always the kind of artist that I always wanted to work with. More so because I didn't know what we were gonna do. I met her in 2007. She was still on MySpace. I didn't know what we were gonna do. I just knew she had something different than the rest of everyone else. And what she had, I knew I would latch on to. So that was when I just knew, because I was allowed to create the way I wanted to. So, all right, like one more question. Anybody else?
One more.
Okay, 2 more.
How do you mentally prepare yourself for an audition?
How do I mentally prepare myself for an audition? Okay, well, when I did audition, 1, I put on an outfit that I felt like I was the bomb in.
Yeah.
Okay. 2, when I learned the routine, I went outside and I rehearsed it 1,000,000 times to make sure that I wasn't just doing the steps, that I was performing the steps, so they could imagine me on stage. And then 3, I didn't watch anybody. Because what happens is that you watch someone get kept, and you can see that person get kept, and you think you're doing the same thing, and you don't have to. It's just that in that group of people, it worked for that person. You might have to do something else that's gonna work for you. So that's sort of how I dealt with auditions. And then last but not least, I actually have a class. I hold a workshop. I have 2 different classes. One's a workshop, it's 4 days, and teaches you what you as an individual need to do to beat those auditions, to try to get the jobs. I basically teach you what you should wear individually, how you should freestyle individually, how you should audition individually, because that's what it takes to get the job, not necessarily how you can look alike. And then I also have a class where I basically, it's an hour class. People come in, they learn an audition, they learn a routine, audition routine, and I basically I cut them afterwards. And I let them know if I would have kept them or cut them.
Wow.
So they can prepare themselves for an actual audition. So, yes.
And those are in Los Angeles?
Yes, these are in Los Angeles.
I'd like to know if you ever use this choreography that you taught us today in a show.
Oh, yeah. Well, so,
I know the monster thing, but I've seen that.
yeah, no, so this is the actual Bad Romance choreography.
Yes.
So yeah, it has been in every show we've done since Bad Romance was invented.
Very awesome.
And it's also in Enigma. If you guys go see if anybody goes to Vegas, we have a show called Enigma. And I love the show. It's a new show, and it got great rave reviews. And
Yeah.
if you guys want to see a fun show in Vegas, that's the one to check out.
Alright.
So.